So we're gonna get started. Good evening, everyone. Now, right? So my name is Thiago, and super thankful for Supreme Lending for letting us use this space today. Thank you guys for coming. I don't know if some of you came in a little late and just couldn't fit, but happy to do it again. And I have some business cards here, so let's be in touch, please. So Thiago, right? I'm from Brazil. You probably picked up on that from the name. I am an AI educator and automation consultant. I started this company, Elevated AI Consulting, a little bit less than a year ago, almost a year ago. And one of the things that I do on one side is corporate education. So doing trainings like this to teams, right, in different companies. Not only this training, but many more advanced trainings as well. And I also am working one-on-one with small and medium-sized businesses creating automations. So, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, what those different things are. But that's essentially my bread and butter. And I'm excited to share this knowledge with you all today, because a lot of people, as you guys were just saying, are just using AI, right? Most people have at least used ChatGPT by now, but most people couldn't tell you anything about what it is, how it works, where did it come from. And so my hope is for today to be able to break it down for you into very simple terms. What is AI? How does it work? Where did it come from? And then we'll talk about some free tools and some free different ways that you can use AI for your personal life and for your business as well. And we'll talk a little bit about the future, where it's going, and what the predictions are, and we'll take some questions at the end. So first thing I always like to do is, just as a little icebreaker, for every presentation that I do, I create a custom image that is unique to that meeting. And I thought maybe we could do that today. So if anybody wants a copy of this presentation later, you can send me an email, and you're going to have one presentation that exists with that photo. All right, so let's see. I thought maybe we'll play the sentence completion game. So maybe to start, what is our picture going to be about? Is it a person? Is it an object? Is it a character?
It could be like a concert.
Okay, a concert. Oops, a concert. Oops, I can spell. What's going on at this concert? Who's there?
People with their hands in the air.
Okay.
Walking up and down.
People with their hands up, dancing. Okay, what else is going on there? Is it morning? Is it golden hour? Is it night?
Golden hour.
Golden hour? It is golden hour. And who's performing? Is it Santa Claus? Is it no one famous, huh?
That's a good question.
No one famous, because the AI won't do it, but it can be a character,
Okay.
can be an object, it can be a concert by the Smell Infusers or something like that, like whatever you want it to be.
Concert by, I don't know, piano player.
Okay. A piano player is playing alongside a DJ. You guys over here, anything else you want to add?
No, I just wanted to see what.
Just want to see what.
We need food and drinks. In the concert.
Yes, maybe beer.
Okay, people are drinking caipirinhas. I love that. Okay, so na praia. Let's see. And then as far as in a style, anybody out of these styles here, call one out for me. What do you guys want to see? Anime, digital art. What'd you say? Analog? Where was that? Oh, right here. Analog film. Okay. Let's see what our unique image for this presentation is going to be. There you go. That's not bad. As a piano player, a DJ, people are drinking beer. And we have a couple options here, actually. We have this one. or we have this one. So which one do you prefer? It's going to be final 1, 2, or 3.
Three.
You like the third one? Nice. And it gives that golden hour.
Yeah.
It does have that golden hour, right? So there you go. That's going to be our official image for this presentation. The first one I've done that has a beer, so that's cool. And so that's image generation, right? Super impressive. You can make different styles with a short prompt. You create anything that you want. At the other workshop that I did, I think you got there late by the time we did this, but people had created, what we did going around was they wanted there to be 5 people riding a camel in Miami or something like that. And I was like, oh, wow, Miami, like super well known for the camels, right? Like camels everywhere.
So it's nice because, for example, for business, you don't need to hire like actors, stage everything. You can just generate something with AI for advertising.
You can, and especially for like small businesses, right? Because we know marketing agencies are so expensive, right? A lot of these tools can be used, and I'll show you. As far as videos as well, video takes a little bit longer to process, so I pre-made some just to show you.
What is the system that you use to generate this image?
So the one that we just generated, this is built in. We'll talk about this application a little later, but it's built into this application called Gamma. And Gamma is an AI presentation creator, and it has a built-in tool there. As far as video, I'm using this tool here called Pika, which is super fun. And you can see this is my dog. So, just a photo of my dog. You can see what I would look like as a baby. This photos here I took. I was across the street before I came here at the Sagrado Café, so I took a selfie, and or like different things that you can do, right? Just from a simple photo, right? And then, so as far as with products, I was working with a brand called High Seltzer. They wanted to make a quick post for their the birthday of the company. So I created this AI image for them, just turning their product into cake.
This is free.
This is free. There's like some more premium features that you can pay for. There's some limits what you can use, but there's a free version as well. And then with this other brand called Barcode as well, it's working. And I made this with the bottle just exploding. So you can see many different use cases for video, for images, right? And so a lot of what I hear on my day-to-day from people working with AI, I hear 2 different ranges of perspectives. On one range, the people that think I've heard this AI is just fancy autocomplete, which I hope to show you that it's much more than just autocomplete. And then on the other end, people are just like, I just don't get it. I don't understand how it works. I don't even get what I can do with it. So those are like 2 extreme ends, right? And so hopefully by the end of today, I will show you that it's way more than just autocomplete, right? And you won't walk out of here saying, I don't understand it. Hopefully everybody's here is going to have a much better knowledge about what is AI. So what is AI, right? AI, as we know it today, refers to computer systems designed to mimic human intelligence, learning from data to make decisions and predictions. So I have some words highlighted there and underlined because they're the most important, really. AI is not actual intelligence right now. It is programmed to mimic what we do. It's just mimicking our intelligence. And it does that by making predictions. And I'll go a little bit more into detail of exactly how that works in a little bit. But remember that it's mimicking us and it's making predictions. And AI is already everywhere, right? From personalized recommendations on your Netflix or your Spotify, to AI-powered chatbots that we all hate, right? Whenever we call somewhere or like try to get customer service somewhere, but they're everywhere. Voice assistants like Alexa and Siri are slowly getting more AI features as well. Fraud detection in banking and so on and so forth. And something that I think is interesting is that usually throughout history, when there's a new technology like this that really changes the world, whether it be the internet or cars, the industrial revolution, it's usually a changing of the guards. It's usually new companies that are coming in and starting those businesses and growing, dominating that industry, right? With AI, it's not like that at all. With AI, it's the same companies that we've been dealing with already for 20, 30 years, right? It's Google, it's Amazon, it's Microsoft, it's Facebook, right? And even when you look at ChatGPT and some of these other companies, when you look under the hood, guess what? Microsoft owns 49% of ChatGPT. So it's really them all along, right? It's like the Scooby-Doo at the end when you take off the mask, like, right? That's what it is. And it's not a changing of the guard here. It's the same tech leaders, the same companies that we've already been dealing with. Even if the names are a little bit different, it's still the same companies. And the reason for that is that these models are so expensive to train that these companies are pretty much the only ones that can afford to do it. So they're spending billions and billions. I think Meta announced their $60 billion of investment in AI this year. And like all these companies are investing all that, right? And so it's huge, but super expensive. So let's talk about a little bit about how it works. Has anybody here actually seen The Price is Right on TV? Maybe one day when you called in sick from work, right? Because you were not feeling good. You turn on the TV in the afternoon. Drew Carey's on. So if you've seen The Price is Right, you may have seen this game before. It's called a Plinko board. And the way that a Plinko board works, if anybody hasn't seen it, we have our contestant, and she drops a ball at the top of the Plinko board. And along the entire way, there are pegs. When the ball hits one of those pegs, it can go left or it can go right. When it goes down, it can go left or it can go right. So all the way to the bottom, where it lands, determine the prizes that the contestant's going to win, right? So to give you a little bit of a better picture, we drop the ball at the top, and it can go left or right, and then it goes to the next one, left or right, and then it goes to the next one, left or right, all the way to the bottom. And that, in the world of statistics and mathematics, is called a random walk, right? And if you throw enough balls down the chute, eventually you get a normal distribution, right? It's no different than if you flip a coin, right? Heads or tails. If you do it once, you get heads again, then you get tails. If you do it 100 times, probability says that 50% of the time you're going to get heads, 50% of the time you're going to get tails, right? This is very similar with our random walk. It can go left or it can go right. With AI, it works actually very similarly. If you think of each one of those pegs as a decision point, the AI is making a decision there, but instead of only being a 50-50 left or right, the AI can take about 70 million different paths instead of just left or right. So if we look at, for example, a phrase like this, every word or part of that word is a decision point. So, and I say word or part of words because if you think of the word thinking, for example, that is actually the word think plus ing, right? And so those are actually two different decision points for like words that are composite like that in our language and in every language. So when the AI was coming up with this response to give you, this is a peg, so he made a decision here about what is the next word going to be. And then he made another decision here about what the next word, about the next word, about the next word, just based on probability, based on everything that he has seen on the internet, every text, every artwork, everything. What is the most likely next word in the sentence? Just based on probability. So when he gets here, it's also making the same decision about the next word. So the most likely next word in the sentence is learn 4.5% of the times, predict, make, understand, do. Those are the probabilities. And sometimes the AI, depending on what you ask or which model you're using, will always give you the highest probability output, but sometimes not. Like sometimes it'll get a little creative and give you some of the low. It depends on what the prompt that you gave it and like how it's being programmed. So that's really the difference between ChatGPT or Gemini or any of these other models. It's just how they've been programmed to give the answers. That's why you can ask the same thing to ChatGPT and to Gemini and to Perplexity or whatever else. And the answer, overall, the idea is probably the same, but the sentence structure is completely different. because it's just been programmed in different ways. So every single one of those decision points, there are about 70 million directions that the AI can go in order to make that decision. Just like in a Plinko board, the decision point is left or right. In this case, it's going in every direction, looking for probability. And we can also think about it as a network of stars, right? Because we know there are trillions of stars in our universe, right? More than we can even count. And there are millions and billions of words in our vocabulary, and in every vocabulary that has ever been written by humans, right? The AI has scanned every single thing that's out there publicly. So if every single one of those words or parts of words is a star in the universe, and you imagine that every single one of those stars is connected to each other, you have this immense network of stars that AI is essentially just looking for the best path to go to get to the final output.
So I think it's interesting for, let's say, I'm not tech forward. Programming, it's if this A equals or then B, or if this C.
Yeah.
In AI, let's say maybe if I ask something and he asks something on his phone, it's going to be different. It doesn't necessarily will be like programming something.
Right. So it does. There's a lot of decision points there, right? So there's the way that it's been programmed, as you said, like if this, then that. If the user prompt this, then answer it this way. But the AI, like in your case or in our case, right, the ChatGPT in our pocket, you've already been using it. It already knows things about you. So it's giving you a personalized answer based on those probabilities. So that's why you and I are going to get a different answer, because there's already information there that are already collected about you. Even before you use it the first time, right? We know that all these internet companies already have all of our information, right? Like our browsing data, right? Like just because you're not logged into Facebook doesn't mean Facebook doesn't know every single website that you go to, right? Because it has cookies, it has all these things that they farm. Same thing with AI. So that's why there's so many different decision points and so many different variations between like the answer that each one of us is going to get. Even if, what you ask the AI is, hey, what is 2 times 2, right? And it's going to tell you, hey, 2 times 2 is 4. But it might answer to me, it's still going to say 4, but it might just answer it in different words. Like it might say to me, hey, thank you for asking. 2 times 2 is 4. You know what I mean? And it might answer to her, 2 times 2 is 4. Let me know if you have any more questions. So there's those variations there and like those customizations. But essentially, as I said, it's like every star. If every word or part of a word is a star in a network that is all connected, and the AI is just essentially finding the best path to give you the answers based on probability. For image generation, it works very similarly because pixels and colors can also be turned into mathematical equations. And so essentially it works the same. You start with a prompt, right? You drop your ball into the Plinko board. The AI will then analyze that prompt, and based on images that it has in its database that have been labeled by us, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, it has, this is a cat, this is a dog, this is what it looks like, and it does those mathematical calculations to combine those pixels and those colors and create like super creative images, as we just saw, right, with our piano DJ concert, right? So why do I say that we've been training, it has all that information? Because we've been training it. Because you probably recognize something like this, right? Every time you log into a website, it gives you the little captcha, and it tells you, click on every image of a telephone pole, or of a motorcycle, or of a bus. Well, guess what? We've been training these AI systems for the past 10 years, 20 years or so, working for free. We've been doing that, right? To log into these websites, to tell the AI, this is a dog, this is a cat, this is a dog in a tutu, so we've been training the systems. And because it has all that information, and it has those mathematical equations for every type of pixel and for every color that there is, it can start from nothing here in the center, for example, and depending on what you prompted, you end up with a cartoon drawing of a dog, or a very realistic bowl of fruit, or artist sketches, or like an interpretation of the work Starry Night, just based on those mathematical equations and connecting those colors and pixels. So really powerful stuff, and really interesting just to understand a little bit about how it works, right? But if we connect those ideas together, we can start to understand why companies like NVIDIA that makes those microchips are like all over the news, right? Because it takes a lot of power. Imagine on a Plinko board, as we saw in the beginning, if it has 144 pegs, that means that there are 65,000 possible paths that ball can go all the way down on a Plinko board. So that's why it's so exciting for a game like The Price is Right? Because they can film the TV show every single day and play that game. The ball is always going to go down a different path. With language models like ChatGPT and Gemini, there are so many different decision points that there are over 1,700,000,000,000 different parameters that is taken into consideration to give you that prompt. And with image generation, it's actually less parameters because there's only so many colors and pixels, right? And so about 860 million different parameters that the AI system is looking at. So imagine every time you ask ChatGPT a question, it's going over about 1 trillion different parameters to give you that answer. Now, there's already over 2 billion people on Earth already using AI. So imagine 2 billion people times 1,700,000,000,000 different parameters, making requests every minute of the day, all the time. I don't even know what that number is, right? That it equals to. But it helps us understand a little bit of why, right? As I said before, why these companies that actually make these little microchips that seem like nothing, they're now so valuable because they're the only ones that can handle this many millions and billions and trillions and I don't even know what number of calculations at the same time for everybody on Earth, right? So it's really crazy the amount of power that it takes. It all started with video games. You may be surprised to know, but in the early 2000s, companies like Sony and Xbox and Nintendo, right, started developing the 3D games. If anybody remembers, right, I remember going from a Super Nintendo to a Nintendo 64, right, and all of a sudden it was a 3D world, 3D Mario. So those chips that are used for those 3D worlds are called GPUs, graphic processing units. So those started to be developing in the early 2000s for video games. And somewhere along the way, artificial intelligence researchers realized just how powerful these little GPUs were, right? Because they're powerful enough to render these amazing virtual worlds. They realized, oh, they're actually powerful enough also to make AI calculations. And they started using those for AI, and everything accelerated exponentially. And that's why we're here today. So NVIDIA started as a company making chips for video games, and now they're, depending on what day you look at the stock market, the most valuable company in the world, or second, right? Like always like there. And that's really the story of NVIDIA, right? Like dominated in the early 2000s. And then, so here's a graph that I took yesterday of NVIDIA's stock price. So we can see here from the early 2000s, steady, 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 right? The company's probably doing okay, but like no big fluctuations in the stock price. And then we get here to 2020. And do you guys remember what happened in 2020? Other than the pandemic, other than Black Lives Matter, other than Me Too, and like all those different things we were dealing with, it was a crypto boom. Like everybody was into crypto all of a sudden, right? Everybody was at home doing nothing. Our 2 weeks quarantine, right? That ended up being years. And crypto started to blow up. The thing with crypto, if you've ever heard of crypto mining, we're not going to get into all that today, but to mine cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all that, it takes a lot of computing power as well. So we see that reflected here in NVIDIA's stock price. And NVIDIA started to become popular. And then crypto crashed. Nobody cared about crypto anymore, even though it's been still up and down, right? Up and down, but it wasn't as popular as it was during the pandemic. So we see NVIDIA stock price go down. And then sometime close to the end of 2024, middle of 2023, ChatGPT gets released, the AI revolution starts, and we see what happens with the stock price, right? So going from a couple dollars to maybe like $40 here with the crypto boom, up to $104, which is where it was yesterday when I took this screenshot. And we can see here, obviously, also a dip, right? And that's the past few days. We all know what's going on in the news with the tariffs, right? They're manufacturing these in Taiwan and in other countries. And so tariffs have affected their business. But in any case, it's still huge. I mean, it's not that far off from the top, right? And still a big difference, $104 to around 40. You know, it has more than doubled the value over the past few years, and it's expected to continue growing. And why is that? Because these GPUs, these graphic processing units, are extremely difficult to build. And the factories where they're built can take up to 10 years to get fully operational. So Google, Meta, Amazon, they're all building their own factories and processing centers, but they're not going to be online for a while. And until then, NVIDIA is pretty much the only player in the game. And so this is not investment advice. Don't sue me if you lose some money down the line, okay? I'm just saying what's going on. I don't know if NVIDIA is actually going to continue going up. Who knows, right? But that's why people continue to bet on NVIDIA right now. It's because it'll be a while before Google and Amazon and Facebook and everybody else is able to actually catch up and produce their own chips. So
you know, it's crazy that like I used to think like everything's already invented, and then boom, something else comes up.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, and yeah, that's you know, kind of bringing everything together. Why we're seeing all these shocks in the stock market, and it's not just Nvidia, right? If you pay attention to the stock market, every single company now, when they do their earnings report and they report their results and all that, there's not one of them that doesn't talk about AI in their reports and in their future perspectives and in everything that they're building. There's not one company. Doesn't matter what industry, right? As we talked about in the beginning, consumer tech with companies like Spotify, Netflix, Zoom, Samsung, etc. Retail and e-commerce like Walmart, Target, Nike, and Amazon, all using AI for customer service, for inventory management, for distribution, for data, and many other things. Food and beverage, there's already, I believe, two from the last time that I saw, two different Chick-fil-A locations that have an AI voice attendant taking orders at the drive-thru. So pretty soon you can expect that every fast food place that you go to, you're going to be talking to an AI bot when you place your order, which for some people that's probably exciting, right? Because those microphones never work well in the drive-thru and the people can't hear you and you have to yell. So maybe it'll work a little bit better with AI, but it's already out there. Domino's also big. Domino's always been really big on technology in general, and they're using AI in a big way in their online ordering systems as well as inventory management and banking, right? Like fraud detection, security, investment planning, many different ways that AI are being used across every industry, and it doesn't stop here, right? Like I said, it's everywhere. It's in every company, and there's not one company now that reports their results without talking about AI, because if they don't talk about AI, their stock price goes down, right? And so it's just kind of how it is right now. So let's talk a little bit about using AI effectively. I have this framework that I like to call the PREPA framework, PREPA, and this is for when you need like more personalized results from your ChatGPT questions, right? So what are you asking it? So for those here who are married or in a relationship, right? Like imagine sometimes you're with your significant other and you just assume that they live in your head and they know everything that you're trying to say, right? And then you go up to them, honey, did you do that? They're like, what are you talking about? You know, I didn't do that. You didn't tell me that. ChatGPT also doesn't live in your head. So give it the information, right? So give it first the pre-existing conditions, the context, like who are you, like what do you need, what are you asking them for this, like what exactly is your request about? Give it the pre-existing knowledge that it needs. Define the role. So tell ChatGPT, hey, for this, I want you to be an expert travel agent or an expert nutritionist or an expert coach, whatever it is exactly that you want ChatGPT to zero on, tell it. Then be explicit with your request. Tell it exactly what you want. Don't let it assume. Tell it the parameters. So say, hey, I want you to give me an email summary that I can give to people. Or I want you to give me, as an output, a summary of PowerPoint slides that I can create. I want you to give me an Excel file. I want you to give me an Excel formula. You know what I mean? There's many different outputs formats that ChatGPT can give you other than just a text response. So tell it exactly what it is that you need. Are you looking for a 7-day meal plan, or are you looking for a 3-day meal plan? You know what I mean? Are you trying to make a travel itinerary? But you're traveling with your kids, or you're traveling with your grandparents? You know what I mean? All those things are going to make a difference, obviously, in the personalization of the response that you get. And then my favorite part, I always tell ChatGPT, ask me 2 or 3 questions of additional information that you need to complete this. So if I didn't tell you everything that you need to know, ask me a couple questions and I'll tell you more information so that you can personalize that answer to me even more. So I'm going to do an example. And for this one, I'm going to use Perplexity. Perplexity is another tool very similar to ChatGPT. The reason I like Perplexity is a little bit more transparent with the sources that it uses, number one. And number two, it also prompts you to keep going deeper. So like Perplexity, like ChatGPT will just give you an answer. Perplexity will usually have a few links underneath the answer that you can click on if you want to go deeper in that subject. So it's already giving you more information there. So for this example of using the PREPA framework, we're going to build a meal plan for me, as an example, right? So for the pre-existing conditions of the meal plan, I am a male in my late 30s. I'm not going to tell you exactly how many. I am 6 feet tall and about 160 pounds. For the role, I'm telling Perplexity, I want you to be an expert nutritionist, aware of all the health trends and studies. The instructions: make me a meal plan to bulk. I want to gain 10 pounds. And for parameters, give me a meal plan with suggestions for every meal, along with a shopping list of everything that I need to go to the store and buy to make that meal plan. And then I tell it, before you start, ask me 2 or 3 questions of what you need to know. And let's see what it gives us. So for anyone who has used ChatGPT and has never seen Perplexity before, this is what I was talking about. It'll tell you exactly what it's working on. And then there you go. It came back to me with the 3 questions that I told you to ask, right? So dietary restrictions. Am I vegetarian, vegan, allergic to any foods? That's a really good question, right? I should have told it that in the beginning, because if I am a vegetarian and I don't tell it that, and it just gives me a meal plan, chicken and meat and all that, that's not going to be useful to me, right? So ChatGPT or Perplexity is asking me. So we're going to make it a little bit difficult. We're going to say that I'm a vegetarian and gluten-free. That's going to be difficult, but it can do it. Protein target. Do you have a preferred protein intake, or do you want me to calculate it? Just calculate it, bro. And number 3, training schedule. How many days a week do I train? So let's just say 5 days, 2 days of cardio. And with that information, sometimes actually it'll come back and ask me more questions, like, hey, actually tell me about this before I give you the answer. But with that, it's going to give me a full meal plan as we requested, along with a shopping list that I can just look at my phone in Publix and buy every single one of those ingredients to follow that exact plan. So because we use that framework, it knows so much about us, right? It can now customize this plan for me. So it knows my height, it knows my weight, it knows my goal of gaining 10 pounds of muscle. So it gave me the macros, how many grams of protein I should be eating per day, how many grams of carbs, how many grams of fats. It gave me key strategies, 7-day meal plan, including breakfast, snack, lunch, post-workout, dinner, and evening snacks. Okay, he thinks I have time to eat this many times a day. I don't. But you could have told it, right? I just want breakfast, lunch, and dinner and a snack or whatever. But sure. And then you can see here the shopping list that I can say take to Publix with exactly everything that I need to purchase in order to follow the meal plan, broken down in proteins, carbs, fats, veggies. And it even gave me some adjustments that I should do to this meal plan on days that I'm doing cardio or not doing cardio. So I burn extra calories or more or less, right? So, and then as I said, Perplexity also gives me some prompts if I want to keep going deeper. So if I want to ask you more questions related, what are some good vegetarian protein-free sources? How can I ensure I'm getting enough protein? And then there you can just keep going and get all the information that you need. But as you can see, the result from using that framework and giving you that information, telling you to ask your questions, telling you exactly the output that you want, it gave me a much more personalized plan. I've done this before also to plan a trip with my friends, like, hey, make us, we're going to this place, make us a 3-day itinerary. I want cool restaurants. I want off the beaten path stuff. Like, I don't want the stuff where all the tourists go. Like, I don't want to go anywhere crowded. I want the cool spots. I want the spots that just open. What's trending? And it gave me like an awesome plan that my friends and I followed for 3 days. So that's the personalization that you're looking for, right? Now, we'll use Gemini for this next one. And essentially, Gemini and ChatGPT both have this feature called deep research. And deep research is exactly that. Once I enter this prompt in, or in this case, Gemini is going to take about 15 to 20 minutes to give me an answer, because it's literally like scraping the entire internet based on what I asked, right? And in this case, this is
something that you mentioned just made me think. Before the nutrition plan, right?
Yeah.
It's like substitute like a professional. And the travel agents, one of their job is kind of to knowing you to give like a personal
recommendation.
Let's say, I know Alessandro has a family. So based on what I know about him, if he goes to New York, that's what he should do for 2-3 days.
Yeah.
So here you just say, look, I'm married, I have 2 kids, and then we don't like to walk too much, and we're staying at Midtown right next to Central Park.
Yeah.
Give me like ideas of what I can do with my wife and my 2 kids, and like, it's crazy. Like, you don't even need to research and
nothing, right? With the medical stuff, I would say with the travel stuff, right? Like, it's good to get recommendations. Like, you're probably just trying to get ideas, right? Like, I don't think anybody goes traveling with their little, okay, it's 3 p.m. ChatGPT told us to go to the Coliseum or whatever, right? Like, no one's doing that, but it's giving you ideas, right? With the meal plans, I always say, hey, at this point, it's good to give you some ideas. Also, you should probably still get it checked out by a nutritionist, right? Just to make sure. But some people can't afford that, right? So like for people that don't have those means, this is a great freaking tool, like for free, right? And so for this one that I want to show you, I asked Gemini to do some research about businesses here in the area that I could invite to this workshop. So the session that we had earlier, as you saw, there was a lot of people here, right? So it kind of worked. And we did a lot of work from that as well. But essentially, this is the prompt that I entered. And the reason I'm showing this one specifically is because this is what I use for leads, also for my business. So every few days, I run a similar prompt to this with a different address or a different area of the city. And you're going to see the results. So for this, I said, I'm hosting an AI workshop for small business owners in Coral Gables and would like to invite relevant professionals. So I asked it for 50 small business owners or decision makers around this address in companies with 1 through 50 employees, business types or mortgage brokers, real estate agencies, insurance agencies, blah, 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 right? And then I gave it the parameters. I want a spreadsheet with these columns. I want the name of the business. I want the name of the owner. I want their email. I want their phone number. I want their social media profile and website if they have it. And I added some notes. If there are multiple emails out there, prioritize giving me the name of the email of the business owner. Ensure the businesses are currently operating and prioritize businesses with some kind of online presence, because this is also another way of validating, right? They have a website, they have a social media, Google My Business page. And I said I want exactly 50 results. So I ran this. So like I said, this takes about 15 to 20 minutes to complete, but I ran it at the last workshop that we just did an hour ago, and I can show you the results of that prompt. So it gave me an entire report, which I didn't even ask for, but it's amazing. An executive summary, how we search for businesses. And then it had problems finding 50 businesses in that requirement within this area, so extended it to a 2-mile radius. Blah, 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 filtering this, that, and the other. And at the end, look, Supreme Landing came as the first result. But you see, it gave me the name of like 50 different businesses in the area, email address, phone number, category, and their social media page that I can go and do some more research before I contact them or cold email them if I want. So yeah, there you go, 50 different businesses. And then, so I do this for my business every few days. I'll ask ChatGPT or Gemini, hey, do another deep research in this area and this area. And those are the businesses that I'm cold emailing, you know what I mean? And then since it gives me their website or their social media, I usually go look at the person's profile. I can write a little bit personal little notes on my email. It takes more time, yes. But do I get many more responses? Also, yes. You know what I mean? So because there's something personal there, because you took the time to do the research. Do you have a question? I thought I heard something.
You get good lead quality with these prompts?
You get good lead quality. I've seen my results go up way more, but I said it's not just the prompt, right? Like once I get this information from ChatGPT with all these emails, I go to that company website or I go to that person's LinkedIn profile. And then I have my little email templates for my cold emails, but then I add a little personal something in there. Hey, like, I saw that you also like this, you know what I mean? Or your company website mentions this, you know what I mean? Or I worked with another company similar to yours. Your competitors on the street, they're ahead of you, you know what I mean? Like, don't want to talk to me? So that little personal touch gets you much more results, right? So so that's one way that you can use ChatGPT and Gemini and these tools for business, and a demonstration of that deep research feature that will get you much more quality results. You want, an analysis on your competition, on your industry, do a deep research. Hey, what are the trends in Miami right now for real estate agents? You know what I mean? Like what's going on? Like you can do like a million different types of deep research with specific industries or companies. Hey, tell me how this company started. For my business, I did a deep research about other consulting firms, and then I started doing research about other AI consulting firms. There's not a lot out there yet, but it gave me some ideas, right? Like what's working for others, like what products can I develop? So deep research is an amazing tool, and like I said, it's available on both Gemini and ChatGPT.
It's crazy. For example, let's say I use social media, and then if I say, okay, what I'm gonna do, ChatGPT, please give me ideas on cool contents for social media.
Yeah.
In Miami, using, let's say, nice pictures or videos and everything, and then like you don't have to come up with the idea or hire someone to do it. You can do the 100% AI content, but you can also have them prepare the script or things like this.
Yeah, then like for social media especially. So one thing that I've done for a couple different companies now was create for them a little chatbot, completely programmed on their brand identity for the product. So we knew exactly what the customer segment that the company was going after. Is it male? Is it female? Is it early 30s? Is it mid 40s? And like everything they should know about the brand, everything we trained this chatbot in. So now when they need to make a post for Instagram, they upload the photo that they're going to post, and they ask that chatbot, hey, like create me a caption. And it creates like the most amazing captions, like in the tone of the brand with the right, targeted to the right audiences, that and the other. And they were paying somebody for that a lot of money, right? For like copywriting and things like that. And so, again, another like really useful business case. And as I said, content creation, legal, like document analyzing, your document creation as well. Like if you're getting like these big contracts in your email from time to time, you can literally just upload the whole file to ChatGPT and ask it to give you the highlights, give me the summary. For work in business, as a study companion, I have one of my friends that's learning Spanish right now using ChatGPT every day. Like he asks ChatGPT, create me a plan to learn Spanish, and it has daily activities, and he chats with ChatGPT in Spanish every single day. That's how he's learning Spanish. Productivity, automation. I have another friend that was telling me his son is in 5th grade. So like he comes home with all these math problems that my friend doesn't know how to solve, right? Like the TV show, Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader? Right? They're hard. But he just, secretly takes a photo of the homework and puts it, hey, tell me how to explain this problem to my son. And then he goes and explains the problem to his son. His son's like, wow, my dad is so smart. You know what I mean? But really, he just asks for an explanation, and it can be like a study companion as well, right? And for wellness, as we saw with the meal plans, for organizing, for planning, many, many different ways that we can use all of these tools, right? And these are some of my favorite tools that I use daily. So Otter is a meeting note taker and recorder. So whenever you're in a meeting on Zoom or on Teams, Otter is in the background, usually taking a script of the entire meeting. And then within a couple minutes after the meeting is over, it sends you an email recap of everything that was said, the main points, what are the next steps that were discussed during the meeting. And then right away you can share that with everybody that was in the meeting, or take whatever information that you need.
How do you integrate, let's say, with Zoom or with Teams?
You just make an account, Otter.ai, and you connect it with your Google account or your whichever, right? Microsoft, whichever one it is, and it automatically joins your meetings if you want. You can play with the settings, like only join these types of meetings, or only tell when I tell you, or join every meeting that's on my calendar that has a link, right, for Zoom or whatever. So that is one of my favorite tools. I think about this in my previous job that I had, a corporate job. Like I would get off these meetings and I would spend 30, 45 minutes sometimes writing an email recap and making sure everything is right and talking about next steps. Hey, this is what we discussed. I don't have to do that anymore. It's like automatic, right? Like it's in my inbox within like a couple minutes after the meeting is over. And it talks about all the main points. It tells me even like the mood. It goes like, overall, the sentiment of this mood was positive. Everybody was contributing, or sometimes it's like, some people were clearly not that into the subject or whatever, you know what I mean? Or you say like, there was a little bit of attrition about when you guys talk about this, that, or the other. So, and then the most useful thing is a list of like next steps. What did we talk about in that meeting that are the action steps? Right there. ChatGPT and Gemini, ChatGPT especially, that's what most people are using and have. Most people that have used AI personally so far have used ChatGPT. That's the number one. It is free. For $20 a month, you can create your own chatbots personal to you, which is super easy to do. You do it with a couple clicks. And
what is a chatbot?
Chatbot. So I have some different ones that I programmed. I will show you. So I have one. So last year when I was looking for a job, I created one that was like knew me very well. And it was like my career coach. So I would go every day and be like, this is what's going on. Like, how do I update my resume for this job position? Blah, 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 blah. I have one that's called a prompt engineer. So sometimes when I want really prompts for ChatGPT, I ask ChatGPT to create the prompts for me. So I come here and I say, hey, I'm trying to do some research about whatever. Give me a deep research prompt that I can give to ChatGPT to do the research. It's kind of crazy. It's like, but that's really how it works. I have one that's like trained on my dog specifically and like the issues that we have with my dog and the breed. And so whenever I'm training my dog on something, I just go to that. I have one that's fully trained. My mom, her name is Closa. It's fully trained on her health, and it has been a game changer. I don't know if anyone here has had to take care of parents yet or seniors. It's extremely challenging when you go to a doctor and they barely see you. They spend 5 minutes with you. They don't answer all your questions, right? So now before I take my mom to the doctor, all her lab results, everything I upload to ChatGPT. And ChatGPT will tell me, hey, this is high, this is low, ask about this. So now I go to the doctor with a list. I need to ask her about this, I need to ask her about this, I need to ask her about this. So I'm not trusting ChatGPT with my mom's health, right? But I am going to the doctor's appointments ready. Like everything that I need to know, because nothing's worse than when we spend all that time going to the doctor and you walk out of there, I forgot to ask about this, or they didn't tell me about this, or what did they say about this? It's right there. You know what I mean? Everything in ChatGPT. I have one for my health also, where I upload all my test results. I have different, like for my company. This one knows everything about my company. So for $20 a month, you can have these different projects and different chatbots that you can program yourself that are specialists in different things that will make you much more efficient because they're programmed for like specific tasks for you.
Okay,
So-
that data that you put in those chatbots, does it keep it only in that specific session, or
Yeah.
it take it for all?
So they're self-contained. So it's just for those specific bots. They don't take information from one another, which is good as well. I mean, I programmed it that way because also it means that the makers of ChatGPT are not training their chatbots on my data.
I was gonna, okay.
Yeah.
So chatbot, for example, let's say I'm a mortgage loan officer. I'm
Yeah.
going to create one only for mortgage related,
I would.
and then another one, let's say for personal health, for example.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. Yes, these are this one here for my business, this one here for my health, this, for another business that I'm working on, this for my mom's health.
And what is the
this stuff
difference?
about my husband, I upload stuff all the time. I'm like, tell me what you guys thinking.
And what is the difference between the free version and the paid version?
That's essentially it. So the free version, you can chat with it. It has a limit on how many files you can upload. So a lot of times, like I'm uploading a lot of documents. Like my mom the other day got a letter from Social Security, and it said, this law changed. You may or may not be affected. I was like, what does that mean, right? Like, and so I took a photo, uploaded to ChatGPT. Hey, ChatGPT, what does this mean? And it was like, oh, because it knows everything about my mom, right? Like, oh, your mom is affected by this change. She'll get extra money on her next paycheck. And that's exactly what happened. The next payment that she got from Social Security, she had a little bit of extra money because a specific law had changed that we didn't even know about, right? So the free version of ChatGPT, that has a limit to how many files you can upload every month for those things, photos, and also the $20 version lets you create what they call these custom GPTs. So that's really the main reason. To me, the best $20 I spend a month is on ChatGPT because I use it like every minute of every day, right? But I want to show you another tool as well, which, as we talked about, is this tool that I'm using right now. It's called Gamma. And Gamma is just a PowerPoint, AI PowerPoint, essentially, right? And I think about my corporate job again, right? Like whenever I had my annual meetings with like big clients, I sometimes would spend weeks preparing those presentations, right? Aligning everything, copy paste a photo from here, change the photo, change the file, blah, 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 send it to your teammate, and then they edit, and they add the final at the end, and then they send it back to you, and it was like final version, final, right? I don't know if you guys have ever had that.
Yes.
Like final version 3, version 4, the final version, right? So with this, we're going to create a presentation right now. And you can see it's going to take literally less than a minute. And for this time, what are we going to create a presentation about? What do you guys want to know? Anything. So the last session, earlier, we created a presentation about motorcycles. And it was just 5 slides. What are motorcycles? How do they work? What are the top brands? So what can we create right now?
Top energy drinks.
Energy drinks?
Yeah.
Perfect. So energy drinks. Okay, we're gonna create 5 slides, how they work, top brands,
What's in it?
what is in them, is it healthy, and effects of energy drinks. So with this tool, you can actually create presentations, you can create websites, you can create documents or social media posts. So just like that, you can also add who is this presentation for? Who is the target audience? So this one, it auto-filled it for me, but we could change it. Health-conscious young adults or teenagers, sure, right? The tone, you can tell it. Do you want it to be a professional tone? Do you want it to be casual? Do you want it to be friendly, approachable? Like, what is it that you want from this presentation? And in this case, how many slides do you want? Let's just make it, how many? Yeah, I did it 5. You choose a theme. So let's just choose any here. There we go. And it's going to generate the presentation for us. So there you go, slide 1. How energy drinks work. And it even created a AI image there for us. What's inside the can. Leading brands. And what was the last thing that we asked? Health effects. Boom, presentation done. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, obviously, I mean, you got to go back and review, right? Yeah. Like, check. And then, you know, maybe you want to change the AI-generated images to your own brand images, right? But 95% of the work is done, you know? And so imagine this is what I was going to.
And this is a paid version as well?
So this one is freemium as well. So it has, I think, up to 10 slides a month you can create, something like that. Okay. And then it's $10 a month. Okay. So I pay the $10 a month happily, you know what I mean? But yeah, for free, you can, if you just need to create a document sometimes or a few slides, it's perfect for that. So which slide were we in? Oh, here.
It's like, it's crazy. Like, the more we know, we really see that it can be used in anything. It's like nowadays, a lot of people, they, instead of relying 100% on a doctor, they do their own research and then they go to the doctor, like you said, with some pre-knowledge, because maybe you don't know if the doctor is interested, if he cares, he doesn't care.
They don't care. A lot of times they don't care. I have that problem with my mom all the time. Like, I would take her to the doctor. He did not care about her. He would sit with us for 5 minutes, look at her test result. All right, you got to do this, you got to do that. Thank you. Bye. You know, now I make him sit with us for like 45 minutes. I'm there like with my ChatGPT. I saw that these levels are low. What does this mean? I saw this. I saw that. What does this mean in combination with this? I go with the list, and I'm telling you, my mom is way healthier now than she was like a year ago. You know
for
what
example,
I mean?
Let's say I used to work in a CPA firm, and then sometimes if you have a client that has some specific situation, the CPA had to study for that meeting, do a research. Nowadays, you by yourself can do the study through chat. So I think it's a lot of like fields.
A lot. So imagine, like, in one way, as I said, you use all the tools together, right, to create something. So imagine you get out of a meeting using Otter, you have that entire transcript, you get the summary. You plug it into ChatGPT, give me the main point for that meeting, extract just the main points, and give me a 5-slide outline. And then you plug it into Gamma, make me 5 slides. Boom, the presentation is done. You can send it to the client. You know, so very, very powerful ways that you can combine all these tools. For small businesses, these are some of the custom examples of custom automations that I create for businesses. So the way that I work is I work with businesses one-on-one, understanding what software they use, how they use it, and ways that I can connect them together to automate things. So one of the things that I created recently, brief proposals. So I was working with this company that does interior design, and the guy likes to just write everything down. And now what he does is he just takes a photo of everything that he wrote when he goes to the client, and automatically I've created something for him that has all the different prices calculated for everything, and he attaches the photos and he shoots out like a document that he's ready to send to the customer just based on his hand notes, you know what I mean, with photos, with estimates, with a quote. Automatically puts an event in his calendar to follow up a week later, automatically writes an email draft for him to send to that customer that he can just check before sending, and automatically also creates an invoice that he can have as a draft to send when he's ready. So all that kind of stuff that can be automated from beginning to end. These are just some examples. So automatically extracting data from invoices. So let's say you get a lot of invoices in your email. You have somebody transferring those invoices to QuickBooks or opening new customer files in QuickBooks. That can be automated. If you're getting leads from Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, those leads can be qualified, and you can receive a notification on your WhatsApp or on your email or whatever the case may be. If you're selling on Spotify, Shopify, you can automatically sync those orders with your inventory systems that you're using in Excel and send Slack notifications to your entire team or Teams notifications, whichever tool you're using. Creating receipts in QuickBooks automatically, creating smart pages in Notion directly from your Gmail, monitoring your Instagram posts for your brand and automatically engaging with consumers who are engaging with your posts. If you're using Power BI for sales data, we can automate that as well. So literally any software that companies are using now, because AI is there to be able to interpret the output from one and put it in the correct format for the other. Pretty much every software can connect with each other now if you know how to do it. And that's essentially what I'm doing with businesses. It's just creating those automations to make them more efficient on those everyday tasks, like very repetitive, right? Like you get an email, you got to copy the information, paste it into a contract, create an event on your calendar, blah, 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 blah. All these things can be automated from one step.
I imagine, for example, like I said, I used to work in a CPA firm.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies, they were very big on the outsourcing.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe a lot of the things that they were outsourced, now they can just be done by
automated.
AI. So for example, let's say that you work for Walmart and also you have a business on the side. So I'm an accountant. I say, look, give me your ID, your W-2, and your 1099, and then I just give to AI, hey, Juan works for Walmart, this is his W-2, and this is his 1099, he had these expenses, this, please prepare his tax return.
That's what Lucille, the girl that was here on the session before, she told me she did that this week to prepare her tax return. She used ChatGPT to prepare her tax return.
Wow. So like, for example, a human being, they used to, for example, in a lot of CPA firms, they had someone doing this in India, and then the person here would review and would make the corrections. Now you're going to have AI doing, and then just having
review.
And then having a human to review.
Yeah.
So like, you don't have to pay the outsourcing anymore.
What are you doing to move the data between
the software? Yeah. So used to be that for one software to talk to another, they had to create an API, right? Yeah. So now I use platforms like, I don't know if you're familiar with Zapier, Make.com, and things like that. Yeah. So these platforms, they have back-end access to pretty much every software. And what they become extra useful now because of AI being able to be applied in the middle. So now, QuickBooks and Excel couldn't talk to each other before, but now QuickBooks sends the data to ChatGPT, who puts it in the right format for Excel, who can then receive that information, or the other way around. Because you're putting AI in between, you don't need to create those APIs anymore for every software. It's just AI interpreting output and creating input. So that's what. So like I said, these are examples. Pretty much any software that any company is using can be automated, and you can create automations with like 20, 30 steps. From receive the email, create a contract, create a brief, create an invoice, add a follow up on my calendar, add another follow up on my calendar, like write an email draft. Like all of that can be automated, so that a customer that you would spend a lot of time doing all those things for, now spend just a few minutes, and you can spend more time selling, or more time doing marketing, or more time training your team, right? To me, that's the idea. We can all stop doing those boring tasks, the copy paste that nobody likes to do, and spend more time on the value add for businesses, right? Like copy pasting from to a contract doesn't make anybody money, right? Like being out in the street selling is how you make money, right? So.
What did you say? QuickBooks, Zapier?
QuickBooks? Oh, for what I'm using in the back end, it's called Zapier.
Zapier.
Yeah. But you're better off talking to me, because it's going to take a big learning curve for you to be able to do that.
I know in my company, actually, I would.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Because, a lot of enterprise, like there's different levels of security. Yeah, exactly. And just so everybody knows, other AI-related services that I offer with my business, other than the automations and the trainings, custom landing and web pages, chatbots, whether internal or external. So imagine your company, for example, has an internal chatbot just for the employees, where they have all the company policies, the organizational charts, all the health insurance plans. So now nobody needs to go to HR anymore and ask, hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? You can just ask the chatbot, hey, what would be my copay if I go see a specialist? How many PTO days do I have? You know what I mean? When are the company holidays? All that information is loaded there. So internal chatbot is that, and then external is what we're used to dealing with when we get customer service from places, right? Marketing and sales acceleration. So I do a lot with like leads generation and lead enhancements. So for example, on my website, which probably everybody does, like I have a little box like contact us, right? And people come to my website and they put first name, last name, email. That's all I get, right? With the automation that I created for myself, within like 45 seconds of the person completing that form, I get a notification with a lot of information about that person, like their LinkedIn profile completely scraped, like their website for their company, who they work for, so that I can pick up the phone and call them right away and follow up on that lead. You know what I mean? And I'm ready because I know a little bit about that person. I know, how to approach the situation, right? And I can be quick about it, because with leads, what the research shows is that if you get an incoming lead, an inbound lead, if you don't get back to them within 5 minutes, the chances of you closing that sale go down by 60%. So if you can have a tool like this, that as soon as they fill it out, you get a lot of information about that person, you pick up the phone and you call them back, you're ready to go, you're much more likely to close that sale, right? Because when people actually take the time to fill out those contact boxes, it's because they have intent to buy. And if you didn't pick up the phone right then, or if you don't reply the email quick, they're probably already on your competitor's website and also asking them for information, right? And so the first one to call is usually the one that gets the sale, and the first one to call with good information is even more likely, right? So lead generations and lead enrichment, really important. Social media content creation, as I mentioned, professional logos and brand kit designs, customer review management, and workflow automation, and AI-powered documentation and policy generation. So those are some of the services that I offer at Elevate AI on top of the trainings and automations that we talked about before. And risks, right? Like, we got to talk about risks. Let's talk about the future a little bit. You probably heard of hallucinations. So sometimes AI will just start saying crazy stuff, right? And the other day I was doing one, and the AI chatbot started sending me over and over. I have a screenshot. I don't know where I have it. It started sending me over and over the same message, like, the way to stay away from sin is by imagining your future wife. You know what I mean? And I was like, what? Like, you clearly don't know me, right? If you think I have a future wife. But, just saying random crazy stuff. And that happens a lot because there's a lot of fake news and fake stuff, fake information online, right? And so, especially for subjects that there's not a lot of information on, AI tends to hallucinate. And the problem that it presents that information super convincingly, right? It tells you as if it was the truth. And so people don't check. I like to give this example. I saw on the news this lawyer that was working on an airline case. And so he went to ChatGPT and asked ChatGPT to give him some precedents of old cases that could support his case. ChatGPT made everything up. It was like China Air versus the state of Florida, blah, 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 American Airline versus whatever. The lawyer didn't check. He went and turned all those documents in. This is the precedents for this case, blah, 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 blah. The end result is that he lost his bar. He was disbarred because he was essentially trying to represent a customer with fake information in front of the judge. So you got to check, right? Copyright concerns, obviously, a big one, and it's been discussed right now in every court around the country. Like, who owns this data? Like, who owns not only the data that ChatGPT creates, but the data that ChatGPT used to, right, scrape the internet, as we talked about. All those artists throughout history, right? Everybody has ever done an artwork, written a book, a blog post. Everything has been scraped to train these models. And
with copyright, can we use if we use those images for commercial
you can use them.
purposes?
Yeah.
Is it okay? Yeah.
So ChatGPT says that the images are yours.
Okay.
Is it true? I don't know. No one's been sued for that yet, but that's what they say. The images that you create on ChatGPT, they say are yours. The videos, they say are yours. Everything still to be determined, right? So I don't know if you all saw on the news about a month ago when I did the other workshop in South Beach, Google and Facebook and I think it was Amazon, the big companies, they presented President Trump with an AI roadmap of things that they would like to see for the next few years. And one of the things they were asking President Trump to do was to sign an executive order saying that AI is exempt from copyright laws. They just want to be able to take everybody's work, continue taking everybody's work for free forever. That's what they want. It's shameless, right? Like they have no shame, but that's what's on their plan. So copyright concerns big. It's getting discussed right now in courts, and we'll see where that takes us. Deepfakes, also a big one. So a deepfake is usually a video of another person made with AI that looks very real. Do I have that open? Yes. So for your benefit, I deepfaked myself so you could see what that looks like. But okay, let me show you. So I have this picture of me on my website, right? So no, just a picture. And what I did was, with a 15-second recording of my voice, 15 seconds, I recreated my voice as a synthetic. I took that photo from my website and I made it sing Anaconda.
This is with
So this is with an app called Runway. And by the way, at the end, on the last slide, I'm going to have all the different tools. But thank you. This one's called Runway. So again, it was a photo, a fake version of my voice, not even my real voice. I copy-pasted the lyrics to Anaconda. And so that one is obviously fake, right? Like, okay, you can stop. But as I said, I created that within 30 seconds. You know, if I spend this tool, I can spend a little bit more time adjusting the things around the face or whatever, and you would never know that it wasn't me singing Anaconda. And again, not my real voice either. You know what I mean? So you can imagine the risk of that, right? My mom already fell for a scam in Brazil, like because this stuff is already happening. Somebody called her, pretending to be my cousin, and my mom sent her like $1,000. You know, and that money is never to be seen again. So especially for like older people, like people that are less technologically advanced, unfortunately, are usually the first ones that get taken advantage of, right, by these scams. And so that's what's coming. In regards to that, that's not part of the presentation, but I'll give you a tip. Have a code word with your family. Mm-hmm. So my family, ever since this happened with my mom, my entire family now has a code word. So it doesn't matter if somebody's texting, because they get a lot of texts on WhatsApp from like fake numbers with fake photos. So now the direction, everybody in my family knows this. Whatever happens, if somebody calls you, if you get a text, you hang up, you call, and you call me. And you say, hey, is this really you that's calling me? Hello? What's our code word? You know what I mean? Because they can fake phone number that it's coming from. They can fake the voice. They can make a video and send it to your grandma saying that you got kidnapped or whatever, right? And so, phone, hey mom, it's me. Code word, blah, blah. Send me the money. You know, it's really me. You can send me the money. So, deepfakes, big concern. And down the line, job displacement, obviously a big one, right? You guys have probably been thinking about this. Like if AI can be my doctor, my nutritionist, my travel agents, blah, blah, blah. Where is the doctors and nutritionists and travel agents going to work? I don't have an answer for that. We don't know yet. We don't know yet, but it's a big, big concern right now in the markets. What is the unemployment rate going to be down the line? Privacy erosion. Now there's like cameras with AI facial recognition systems out in the streets. Our information is even more online than ever before. So all these privacy problems that we've been having already since the invention of the internet and social media, just getting exacerbated and getting worse. One that's really scary to me is autonomous weapons. And I know for a fact this is happening because my cousin works for a military drone company, and he's told me some of the stuff that they are working with. But yeah, in Ukraine right now and wars all over the world, there are already autonomous weapons controlled by AI, which also raise interesting ethical questions. Right? I don't know if interesting is the right word, but they're definitely ethical questions. So if a drone controlled by AI makes its own autonomous decision to bomb a building, right, and kills all the men, women, and children inside, who just committed that murder? Right? Is it the AI? Right? Is
I
it
was curious, like this.
the term? Yeah,
Terminator.
yeah.
The that not fireworks, but like the drones, like 5,000
Yeah.
drones that make all these images. Is this AI or
No. Those are just programs like in connection with one another. Maybe there's some AI in there, but it was not considered like an AI system. But those are cool. I've seen like in South Beach now they do it a lot, like instead of fireworks. And then of course also algorithmic bias. So we've been dealing with this already, right? Like in social media and all that, as we know, the heads of all these companies are all just white men in their 30s, 40s, right? Like they're all kind of like the same. And so there's a real lack of diversity up top on the people that are making these decisions that trickle down to all of us. And that has an effect on every minority, every, minority group or person of color, things like that, queer people. We're not represented in what's coming out in these products. And so that has already been happening, as we said, many years with social media and the internet, and it's only getting worse. As far as where AI is headed, you probably heard by now of AI agents. So the difference with AI agents is that they're able to actually complete tasks for you, right? So right now, I could ask ChatGPT, what's the best restaurant in Miami? Tomorrow, I'll be able to tell ChatGPT, make me a reservation at the best restaurant in Miami. So these are agents that will be able to talk to each other. In the future, when Alana and I want to meet, I'm just going to have my agent talk to his agent, figure out our schedules, and set the meeting for us. We don't have to talk. We can just show up for our meeting, right? Things like that. Book me a plane tickets, like plan my trip to Paris and book me my hotels and make my restaurant reservations and the rental car. That's an agent. AGI is a big one, artificial general intelligence. And what that means is artificial intelligence that's actually intelligent, so not mimicking, as we just talked about in the beginning, but with a level of intelligence superior than ours. And that's predicted to be here by 2030 now. Used to be 2040, and they just moved it up, which means probably going to be here next year, right? But really, capable of reasoning, actual reasoning, and problem solving across multiple different domains with multiple different inputs. So actually, as I said, intelligence that's considered to be more intelligent than us. Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
And
I rewatched it after all this AI thing.
Scary, right?
I rewatched it and see it from a different perspective.
Or the Matrix. I did that with the Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, right? Same idea.
And like these autonomous weapons, I mean, the government wants to save money. Not just this government, every government. They need to save money. So say, why I'm gonna pay thousands of army, people, they're risking their lives. I can just, build like autonomous weapons, or maybe having someone's supervision in Arizona, and then they're bombing somewhere else. It's crazy, but I think in AI is gonna be from A to Z, all types of businesses.
Yeah.
Like you said, all the companies, if they don't talk about AI, they're losing value.
They're behind.
People, they're behind.
And finally, our tech leaders, right, like Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and all the others, they want us to believe that it's going to be a utopia, right? That we're all going to have these AI agents working for us. We're all going to be making money, and our agents are going to be out making money for us, and we're just going to be home, like hanging out, Mm-hmm. I don't believe that, right? I'm old enough to remember when the internet was supposed to do that. right? Like the internet was supposed to democratize all information, and everybody in the world was going to have access to everything, and everybody was going to be able to blah, 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 blah. Well, we're in 2025 now, and that hasn't happened. The internet has been around for 30 years, right? And I don't believe AI is going to do that either. Obviously, these people, it's in their best interest to say that, right? And paint this amazing photo of the future, blah, blah, blah. But I don't see that as the future, right? What is going to be in the future? I think, as I said, agents, artificial general intelligence, people being more efficient in their work, doing more productive. But is everybody just going to be sitting at home and letting their agents do the work for them? I don't think so. But maybe I'm wrong, right? Maybe we can talk in a couple of years.
A lot of people they catch up, but a lot of people they get left behind.
Yeah.
Because maybe, for example, the internet, it's great. You have free books, you have free seminars, free content, but a lot of people they don't use it to better themselves, or like they just waste their time and.
Yeah. And as a final thought here, right, it's exactly as we're talking about. Embrace it or fall behind. I think, my opinion, right, the genie's out of the bottle, right? Once we invented the car, we didn't go back to riding the horse and buggy, right? Like once we invented the printing press, right, every calligraphy went out of style, right? And so it's the same thing here with AI. I think it's not going back in the bottle. One of the things that I hear every single day, probably multiple times a day, people ask me, is AI going to take my job? Or is AI going to take all the jobs, right? We're just talking about job displacement. And what I tell people every day is that no, like AI isn't going to take your job, but somebody who knows how to use AI probably will. And that's the difference, right? Like, do you want to be the one that gets displaced, or do you want to be the one that gets retained or hired because you know how to work alongside AI, be more productive? And so I teach actually a class at a high school. And so this is one of the questions that the kids asked me this week, right? They were like, are we going to have jobs? They're like in 10th grade. And I was like, oh, I didn't want to tell them. They're like, you're probably not going to have a job. No, but I told them, look, what you can do is concentrate on the human skills. I think the number one skill that people can have is storytelling. If you know how to tell a story, you can sell, right? You can build a relationship with people. You build trust. Mm-hmm. And that is something that AI is not going to be able to replace us. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I have ChatGPT on my phone, but I still go to the therapist, you know what I mean? Like, because I can talk to ChatGPT and like get advice and this, that, and the other, but that human connection is not there, right? So I still check everything for my mom's health with the doctor, right? As I said before, I still this, that, and the other. And so that human connection is so important. And that's what I tell the kids, like concentrate on those, learn how to be a good public speaker. You know what I mean? Practice that. Practice just walking up to people like a networking event and just saying, hi, how are you? Within the first 5 minutes and not being shy, right? Like those are the skills that you can work on. And learn how to use AI in your everyday life. So I think it's curiosity from people. You guys have taken the first step already and just being curious enough to come here today, you know what I mean, and learn a little bit more. And the world is like our oyster right now. Anything that you want to create, any idea that you have, if you've ever had an idea for a website or an app or anything like that, you can create it now with AI, you know what I mean, easily with just your words. So the opportunities are there. It's a matter of just being willing to take that step and learn and be creative. So that is that, as promised. Here's all the tools. If you want, anybody, take my card, you can email me. I'll send you a copy of the presentation. And does anybody have any questions here just to finish off? Yeah.
I have a couple.
Yes.
Could you tab into a CRM, for example?
Monday.com.
Take any parameter, like we use Club Ready by me. It's a fitness studio.
I would check if I know that we use Monday. I know that we use, we can connect to Monday, we can connect to SalesSpa, we can connect to HubSpot. I'll check on that one. You can just send me an email.
We'll talk.
Yeah, send me an
later,
email.
But that's kind of my idea to work with you in the near future. Just
sure.
Take, for example, a lead list or a member list and notify them when they have their progress reports or their appointments. will shoot out an email automatically.
Yeah.
So,
Or like even just change the status on the CRM, you know what I mean? Move it to the next step or reassign it to someone else. Like there's so many different things, especially with leads.
Mhm.
We can talk for sure. There's a lot of automations there.
of course.
But yeah, that specific CRM, I'm not sure. But like I said, I know that it works with Monday, with HubSpot, with all these other ones. So it would probably work too.
Okay.
You had more than one question though, you said.
No, I'm sure I have.
Okay.
I just want to take we'll talk.
Cool.
offline.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Any questions, comments, concerns? No.
Great.
I start, sorry.
No, this is great. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
thank you so much. No, for me, it's I usually use ChatGPT and Gamma.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, you use Gamma already?
Yes, but
Mhm.
not for social media, only for PPT.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a social media and I like so much because I'm in writing. But I work in the company. I am paid for someone prepare for my social media. I need to deliver for her what she needs and
Oh
she
my
will
gosh.
prepare. Look that
Yeah.
it's prepared for
It's prepare, yeah. And you can create, like I said, what I've done for other companies is create chatbots trained on their own brands and their own everything that, yeah, it's...
I saw. I went to an AI event, and they told me it's crazy. Like, I own a pizza restaurant in Miami Beach called this. This is the menu, and I want you to create a podcast between this person and this person, and that they will talk about my restaurant
Mhm.
and the food and the experience that they have, and then like AI generates a podcast talking about it. You know, it's so I think
That's a tool from Google. It's called Google Studio, I think.
Yeah.
And it's literally what you said. Anything that you want, it creates a podcast that sounds very natural, just like a podcast that you would hear. Hey, blah, blah. Oh, tell me about this. Tell me about that. Tell me about the pizza. Tell me about the prices. It's crazy. It's
So
crazy.
I think it's very nice your presentation because
Yes.
it gives us like for example, I'm gonna start using on my social media,
Yes.
and instead of me thinking what I'm gonna post, I can say, look, I'm a mortgage professional,
Yeah.
and I would like to create a engaging content to post in my Instagram account. Please make it something original that talks about Miami and this, and then like, boom, it's gonna it's
Yeah.
Yes.
It's extremely impressive, yeah, and the amount of time that it can save you. So, okay, awesome.
Obrigada.
Obrigado. Thank you, everybody.
Obrigada.